Intermediate Algebra Mid-Course Assessment Review. Question 1's instructions read, write the equation of a line connecting the given points in slope-intercept form. In question 1, we're given 2 points on the line, 10, 3, and -3, -5. With 2 points, we first can start by finding the slope of our line. Slope is calculated, or m, is calculated as y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. If we treat the 10, 3 as our first ordered pair and the -3, -5 as our second ordered pair, we can plug in the values as follows. With -5 for our y sub 2 minus 3 for our y sub 1, over -3 for our x sub 2 minus 10 for our x sub 1. Another way to write that, or view it, is to change the subtraction signs to addition signs, so that we still have the -5, but we turn the minus to a plus. That means that that sign pushes over onto the value behind it, showing us that this is a -5 plus -3. The same on the bottom. We have the -3 minus 10. If we create a plus sign for the minus sign and push the sign over, it creates a -10. So we have a -3 plus a -10. So now we can bring these together, or sum them. We end up with a -8 over a -13. A negative divided by a negative creates a positive. So this is a positive 8 over 13 for our slope. Next, we want to take that slope information and start working towards the equation for the line. We want it in the form y equals mx plus b, but at this time we have points available and a slope, so we'll use the point-slope formula to start, which is y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. I'm going to use one of the points from above. I'm going to use the -3, -5. And I'm going to plug them into the formula. So I end up with a y minus a -5. This actually creates a positive, so instead I've written it as y plus 5 equals an 8 over 13, that's my slope, being multiplied to the binomial x plus x sub 1. Well, my x is a -3. My equation has a minus sign in it, so a negative and a minus make a plus 3. Now that I've plugged in my values, I can begin to solve. I start by simplifying. To simplify, I'm going to remove the parentheses by distributing the 8/13 through the parentheses. So 8 over 13 times x makes an 8 over 13x. 8 over 13 times a positive 3 is going to create a 24 over 13. I can see that as 8 times 3 to make the 24, then 13 times a 1, which is what the 3 would be over if we put it in a fraction form to create 13. Now I need to subtract the 5 from the left side so that y is left alone. So I'll subtract the 5 off the left side. This means I'm subtracting the 5 off the right as well. This creates a 5 over a 1. I need an equivalent fraction before I can actually complete the subtraction. Looking at the fractions, I've got a 13 and a 1 in the bottom, so the equivalent, or the lowest common denominator to create my equivalent fraction, will be 13. So I plug in a 13. 13 times 1 is 13. Then I take 13 times the 5, and it creates 65. Now I can subtract them. I have 24 minus the 65. So I'm going to take the 65, subtract the 24, it makes a 41. The larger of the two numbers was negative, the minus 65. So this is a minus 41 over 13. Question number 2, the instructions read, write the equation of the line that passes through the given point and is perpendicular to the given line. Write the equation in a slope-intercept form and in the standard form of ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are integers and a is greater than 0. So let's take a look at this. We have a point. This point is on our line. we also have the equation of a line that runs perpendicular to ours. That means that if we were to look at the slope of this line that's perpendicular to ours, our slope should be the reciprocal with the opposite sign. This is positive, so ours will be a negative. And then the reciprocal of 1 over 2, it will be 2 over 1. Well, 2 over 1 reduces down to a 2. So our slope ends up being m equals a negative 2. Now we have a slope, we have a point, so again we're going to use that point slope formula, that y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. I'm going to plug my values in. So I have a y plus 8. I have a negative 8 here and a minus in the equation. It makes a plus 8 equals my negative 2, the slope that I found by looking at the equation that was perpendicular to mine, then x, then the formula has a minus, the 4 has a minus as well, that makes a plus 4. I'll simplify by clearing the parentheses. I have y plus 8 equals a negative 2x minus 8. Now I can move the 8 to the other side, so I will go ahead and subtract the 8 off both sides, so a negative 8 minus an 8 makes a negative 16. So now I have it in slope-intercept form. Y equals a negative 2x minus 16. That's half the answer. I was also asked to put it into standard form as well. So I need to move the negative 2x to the other side, so I'll sum it to the other side. This gives me a 2x plus y equals a negative 16. It's now in standard form. As a check, however, I need to make sure that all of my terms have integers. So in other words, I do not have a fraction or a decimal present, and I don't. The other rule that I needed to meet was that the A position was greater than 0. That means it cannot be a negative. In this case, it's already a positive, so I'm good there. So I don't have to take any further action to complete this problem. Let's move on to problem number 3. Find the value of the function. These are the instructions for number 3 and for number 4. We're given the function of x equals a negative absolute value of x minus 7. And it says to find the function of 6. So I'm going to plug a 6 in wherever I see that x. So I have a negative absolute value of 6 minus 7. Absolute values, we treat them just like a grouping symbol. So if there's any math inside, we take care of it first. So I have a 6 minus 7 to create a negative 1. The absolute value of a negative 1 is a positive 1. Now I still have the negative to the outside waiting to be multiplied in, so I end up with a negative 1 for my final answer. Coming down. Question number 4 says, given the function of x equals an x raised to the second minus 4x plus 5, find the function of 2. So I'll plug a 2 wherever I saw the x. So I have a 2 to the second power minus a 4 times 2 plus 5. So I'll simplify by clearing my exponent first. So a 2 times a 2 to make a 4. And in the same line, since I'm already done with exponents, I'm going to move on to step 3. And I'm going to head and take care of that multiplication, that 4 times 2 to make an 8 plus 5. Next, or last step, is summing. So I have a 4 minus an 8 to make a negative 4. Carry down the 5 next to it. A negative 4 plus a 5 to create a positive 1.